nearer than, that's what it says, nearer than 15 feet from any property line except in the case where a property line adjoins a reserved area, in which case the building or structure may be within 10 feet from the property line. No construction may begin until the construction plans and specifications and a plan showing the location of the structure have been approved by the Board of Directors as herein provided. No construction should begin until the plan's been approved. That's what that says. For the purpose of perpetuating the natural environment and propagating the wildlife, only certain areas around the owner's buildings may be fenced as may be desirable, but that no fence will be allowed until and unless approved as to the design, type, and location by the Board of Directors. The building exterior of any approved structure must be completed within 6 months of commencement of construction.
Oh, I think of 2 violations right there.
Didn't get you?
I'm sorry. I think of 2 violations right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's really 3 parts to this about where a structure may be in relation to the property line, and the approval of the plans, and fencing, and completion. So there's 4 parts to it, really. What are our thoughts and notes on this?
Have we had any problem with the 15 feet to 10 feet? Let's just start there.
I think everybody's pretty much done really great on that, the plans I've seen. I don't have them now,
Okay.
so.
I don't have any history on that, so I don't know.
And
Have we had people starting? This to me is one of the most plainly written, easy to understand, clear
Very
sort of.
specific.
Yeah,
That piece of it is. The other stuff, not so much.
now when we get down to the,
Okay, so on property lines, we're okay. So no construction may begin until the construction plan specifications and a plan showing the location have been approved by the Board of Directors as herein.
and we've had really good, I think,
Mm-hmm.
contributions to the board about people wanting to build and getting that done.
Okay.
I don't know of any change that would need to be made to
There
that.
is no enforcement provision.
Well, the enforcement's a whole other thing,
Wait
right?
a second.
But
Provision if construction begins before approval.
we're not tackling enforcement right now.
I'm just,
Throwing it out there. Okay.
yeah. Let's see. Now, for the purpose of perpetuating the environment, etc., on fencing. So, do we have any problem with fencing?
I think we ought to have something here that says what kind of fencing. Maybe, I don't know, now that I'm beginning to say that, I may walk back from that, but
I'm going to fence my place just because I have to, because they're all across my property. Things have been missing, maybe the things have come up missing. Back at the side here where I won't do anything there, probably not in the front, but on the side
Well,
I have to do something.
Let's see here. So it basically says,
it's just so vague.
but that no fence will be allowed until unless approved as to design, type, and location by the Board of Directors.
Now, some homeowners associations, when I've looked at theirs, I mean, there are just such tight restrictions about paint color and all kinds of things. And I'm not suggesting that we go there, but I would hate for a homeowner to spend all this time, with a plan and doing all their, and then to be told, well, we would never approve chain link or wood or whatever that is, or composite material or something.
Do we need to
So-
do anything here is what I'm asking.
I
Well,
don't think there's really been any problems with it. Fences.
Well,
Well,
we've
because
had-
it says here where it says, and unless, no fence will be allowed until and unless approved as to design, type, and location.
Yeah.
but I'm just saying we have no guidelines of what we even
So
find
the
acceptable
board
in a
actually
fence.
needs to have the guidelines then.
Okay.
Well, just maybe. I'm just suggesting that
Because it says, it says approved by the,
what do people find objectionable in fencing? A certain height? Certain closeness to the road? Is
Well,
it-
for instance, a fence that obstructs the view of another property owner.
So is it a height issue?
Well, it height and construction material.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody has, a wire fence, I think we should exclude barbed wire from any.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have nothing. We have
Right.
nothing that says, so that we would at least help a homeowner not waste their time going out and drawing up a plan and figuring out, Maybe this doesn't take much time on the part of the homeowner. I don't know, but
Well, and for instance, there was an issue, Jane, with the fence that's right next to your property there. And the board met, and there was a vote that actually disapproved of it after construction. And then some of us on the board, including Shirley Farley, said, that's not practical, and got the board back together in the afternoon. We walked down there and looked at it.
what was not practical? Removing it or
Putting it up.
put it?
Shirley and I and some others on the board felt that it had been too, that it hadn't been considered enough of the reality of the fence and so on. So we went back down there and took a look at it, had a conversation, and then approved an exception. So we redid that. So it has been an issue in that case, and we simply decided that it was more reasonable to leave the fence where it was and as it was. That it would have been, and we felt like it wasn't appropriate for the expense. But I mean, that it would cost to change it. I mean, I think we need to be clear that before fences are constructed, they need to be approved, and we just want to be certain that it's written that way.
Do we want to have, though, some kind of height limit, that it can't be over 6 feet, or is it all relative to what view it might be blocking somewhere? I mean,
Well, when I applied for the fence at my place, there were no fences. They said I couldn't go over 5 foot. I had to set it back 35 feet from the road, and then they bounced it back to me because they said I couldn't enclose my entire lot until I told the board, well, wait a minute, behind my house is mine too, down to the road. And then they finally approved it that way. And that was such a waste, because my fence should have gone out to, 15 feet in from the road? Why is there 35 feet
No,
out there?
fences can go on property line, actually, if both properties.
The only reason I say that is that we got all those phone lines and stuff over
Right,
there.
right. The
But,
underground.
why is it sitting 35 feet in from the road? And that's what happened, but they said 5 foot, had to be wired.
well, I guess that's why I'm asking
I
this
think it's
question. Do we
because-
want some sort of general guideline that's here so
It
people
just-
don't feel picked on, or people don't feel like,
Yeah, I mean, there should be something, a standard rule, rather than,
This
case
type
by
of
case.
fence?
where it changes every other year, just on, not because there's
Okay,
thought
so-
behind it, but just a whim of whoever,
Okay. I agree with you. I think, what shall we say? I mean, I am a little mindful, we're only on paragraph 4, it's 12:15, and we've got a long ways to go, and maybe we can be focused on what we need to give the lawyer.
Maybe this would be a place where we could say that we're going to set up some sort of a guide for the building permits. In other words, here's this, it's how high, the exterior, about
for the
middle,
fencing.
and then put the fencing in there, etc. And do up a guideline
For the board, because it says
that the
here,
board will have to use.
Well,
and
and
can
the
give to a
homeowners could
person.
look
kind
at
of
it
like
and
even the
know-
construction,
on the
yeah, it'd be on the
website.
website.
what are the parameters? Again, I don't think this has to be locked down.
It's not set
In a
in
big way.
cement. I mean,
Yeah.
you can come to the board and say, look, right here, I would like to have it be more like a privacy fence. You know, the ones that they made that were 6 foot high over at Ricky's place because there was a drying yard for clothes there. Well, they approved that.
Yeah, that can be a unique element of a
Yeah,
property
honestly.
that can get exceptions, sure.
Let me
Okay.
read you the notes I've written. Property line requirements are usually fine as written, as observed. There is no enforcement provision if construction begins before approval. Do we need guidelines about fence construction? No barbed wire. We must be clear about fence approval before building. Approval before building fences. Can we establish fence guidelines that are to be published on a website and available to the members, but not in these deed restrictions?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Say again?
That sounds good.
Okay, are we ready to go on to paragraph 5?
I had a question. The last line about approved structure must be completed
There you go.
exterior. We're going to have to think about that. We've got one that's starting to look like a mess, and I don't know how long it'll go on, but we need to cover it in some way.
Why does it need to be
I
covered?
agree.
Well, I mean, we had to put something down. I mean, they threw up the foundations and they piled stuff all over the place. Now it's just sitting there rotten. And
What is running? Is it
The
like
house
the housing
foundation,
materials,
they put-
the foundation itself?
materials are all over, and they put up the foundation, and now it's just it's left. I mean, no
Did they
one-
have to resubmit plans or what?
The plans were submitted the first time and then resubmitted, and then they put in the raised foundation, and now
What
it's
lot is this? Who's,
Blanca and Javier Bustamante's lot over here on the back loop road. I mean, it's not like you want. I hate this because you don't want to pick on one person, but we've always said that they had to be enclosed. I mean, when Fred built his first house, he had to come to the board, ask for an extension. He hadn't quite got it closed in.
right.
I mean, we need to do it. That's
So
just.
is there anything wrong with this? We're back to the enforcement
Well,
problem.
it goes back to the question that it is a problem from time to time. This is not the first time, it's not the only time.
And this is only saying that the exterior has to be completed. People can obviously finish out the inside.
Right,
That's
once
their
they
own
Build a
plan.
shell.
Right, they just need to get the exterior finished within 6 months. Okay? I mean, so is there anything we want to change about that?
We can't do
Well-
anything about it, so it's just there.
The only way I can think of dealing with it,
Or
Yes.
or maybe add just plans need to be resubmitted if it's not finished in 6 months. I don't know, but that wouldn't be,
Have to be the
Right.
same ones because
Yeah.
it's the same
The-
footprint.
I mean, the only thing I can think of with dealing with it is to enforce it would be to require people to put basically a cash deposit down and have an inspection to get the cash back that they had in fact enclosed it. I don't really want to get into it.
You know, but I'm changing trails here. One thing I don't think we have covered anywhere, because it wasn't in effect years ago, when someone builds, they have to have the approved septic system. Real and Uvalde County, you can't put a 50-gallon drum on the ground anymore. And we need to cover that in our restrictions. In other words, you
That's a good
submit a
point.
house plan, you're gonna have to submit your plans for your septic system, both counties. I mean, it's upon us to be sure they do, because otherwise we're gonna be talking to TCQ big time.
Okay, so I wrote the note, construction completion within 6 months is a problem, period. Next note, we need to have septic system county approved before construction begins.
Right? But we have one right now that's gonna go on the web for sale that the government sees, and there's no septic.
Really?
So where does human waste go?
It's not, the house isn't completed, it's, the outside's finished and most of the inside, but they never put in a septic system, and the little trailer that was enclosed as a building has a drum in the ground. It's not
Where is
even
this?
north end, next to Dave Lawrence's place, between Dave and the old Brazier property, that brand new house that's sitting there.
So human waste goes in a drum.
No, but in,
It-
there
that's
was a
the point,
trailer
yeah,
on the
okay,
property,
all right.
and they enclosed it, and out and back they have a drum in the ground, kind of like a few others here. Next to it, on the same lot, they built a new house. The line comes out and look it out toward the ranch next door. It's not hooked to any septic, anything, and it sure as heck can't go into that drum.
Was the construction of the house approved?
I never saw any plans for it, it just went up. Or anybody was even thinking about it or talking about it.
So I was one actually too.
And then the government seized it, and
So what's the current situation on it?
it's supposed to come up for some sort of a public auction, but when you call and ask them about it, they just say it's not up yet. They show you a website where you're supposed to be able to check, but it was seized for, it was tied up with that mess in Laredo.
I don't know any of it.
It was drug dealers, human trafficking, they took over $1 million from them, all of their vehicles and
Who was
whatnot
the
and
owner?
other. Segovia. It went back and forth under several different names, and, but it was seized. Oh, we had all the black suits out here and everything one day.
Life's exciting in the Friocielo.
It is, we could write a story about it.
Can we, what is our point here? What is our issue? We need to have septic system
We-
county approved before construction begins.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, and do we need any more notes on paragraph 4?